That's what happens. You know, I learned in this business that the lifespan of a new agent is about 30 minutes, 30 hours, or 30 days. That's about how long you have to work with an agent. You might say 30 minutes. How could it be 30 minutes? 30 minutes. You do an overview. It's a great overview. You got people excited. You got people signing up. They leave there on fire. And on their way home, they happen to stop by McDonald's because they wanted to grab something quick to eat. And just so happens their friend there happens to be the head French fry guy. So they go into the McDonald's, and who's there? Their friend. And what's he doing? He's standing behind the counter doing his job. She got the hat on, waiting for the buzzer to go off. And you walk in, and you're all pumped up, right? You walk in, you step up to the counter. Oh, my gosh, good to see you. Listen, man, I got something to share with you. I just went to this thing. I just got involved. Man, we're going to fix your credit up, and when you die, you'll be prepared, and you're going to be able to make a fortune. We're going to make so much money with these protection things, and it's amazing. They're giving away Audis. I'm getting mine for sure. And your friend's back there going, what? Are you crazy? What are you talking about, dying and giving credit? Man, man, you don't even have any money yourself. What do you mean? That's why I'm trying to do something. You're trying to do something. That's ridiculous. I hope you didn't give him any money. What? What do you mean by that? Yeah, I paid. I'm paid. I'm going to this training. I'm going to learn from some rich people, something like that. Oh, man, you're an idiot. You've always been an idiot. You're crazy. I hope you can get your money back. No, I wouldn't have nothing to do with that. Get out of here. Do you realize what just happened right there in that 30-minute time frame? 30 minutes, right? You're thinking to yourself, man, I got to get my money back. I'm going to get my money back. And do you realize what that just happened right there? A couple weeks from now, you're going to be standing next to that guy going, man, I'm sure glad I listened to you. Because the French fry guy just became your mentor. That's your coach. That's who you're listening to. All because you're running your mouth. You're running your mouth instead of sticking to the script. That's why you have a script. So you stay within the confines of legitimately what you can do. What you can do. You're new. You can't do a whole lot. You don't have enough answers. You're not educated enough yet. You don't have the experience. Let the script do the work. So you just call somebody, hey, I want to get your opinion on something. Listen, when do you think it take 5 minutes? Just watch a quick video. Love to get your thoughts on it. What is it? Listen, I just took a look at it myself. It would be a whole lot better if you just took a look at the video. Give me your feedback. Or let me ask you, how many people out there today have less than perfect credit? How many people have a tremendous amount of debt? Tons of people. Exactly. That's why I definitely want to get your opinion on this. That's all you got to do. Send them the video. Get a time frame for it. Then we'll talk about follow-up here in a second. If it's a peer, you just go down and you follow the peer script. This is a person who's your friend, right? This is a more closer contact, a family member. You're going to keep it more light. So you're calling somebody up on the phone. If I'm calling Daniel on the phone and he's my friend and somebody I have done things before, I'm just talking to him on that level. I'm not reading a script, right? I'm not in front of the script going, hi, Daniel, it's Greg. You got a quick minute? Listen, comma, I just came across something. Hey, Greg, are you reading a script? You can't read the script. That's why you got to practice. You got to practice. You got to know it inside and out. I'm not sitting there when I'm doing it by script. I know it by heart. You can know it by heart because it ain't that much to learn. See, that's the thing why I laugh. I cannot believe how much money they pay us to do this. It's crazy. It's crazy. I got to memorize this, and they'll pay me $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a week. I just got to memorize this. Isn't that crazy? That's it. You just got to know the scripts inside and out. But if you don't know the scripts, you're not going to sit down with your new people and help them know the scripts. You're not. You're going to give them a script and send them on their way. But if you know the scripts inside and out, you're going to make it so comfortable for somebody else to do. You're going to make it so comfortable for somebody else to do. When I'm working with somebody, I make it so easy for them because I'm able to role play with them, show them how simple it really is. This isn't overcomplicated. We make it overcomplicated. We make it scary for people because we ourselves aren't as prepared as we should be. Now remember, if you're new, you're relying on your upline. You're relying on other people above you to do what I'm talking about. So you don't have to feel like, well, Greg, I've only been in for 2 days, so I'm just learning. Exactly. So it's not on you. It's on your upline to do those things. But you got to get good at this as fast as possible. So when you're talking to a peer, you're just saying, hey, what's up, Daniel? Listen, you got a quick sec? They go, sure, because that's a normal conversation. Hey, listen, I just came across something. I'm super excited about it. Listen, I really believe you'd appreciate knowing about this. Hey, when can you take 5 minutes to check something out? I can do it right now. Perfect. I'm going to text you this link to a video. It's 5 minutes. As soon as you're done watching it, make sure you're going to get back to me. You're going to watch it now? Make sure you call me right back. See, you can use your energy. It's not a problem to influence people in relation to getting them to watch the video. You just can't influence people into the business. You have to let the business sell the opportunity, because that's what you cannot duplicate. You can use your tone, because everybody could do that. That is duplicatable. And if they ask you questions, it's the same thing. Hey, listen, you know, how many people you know with less than perfect credit? How many people you know have a considerable amount of debt? Or whatever words you would use. Exactly. That's why I know you'd appreciate knowing about this. So when can you take 5 minutes to check it out? What if they keep asking you questions? Listen, I wouldn't even know where to begin about trying to explain this. Look, watch the video. It's going to give you the information you need. And then look, if you have questions, I'll get you answers after that. But just check out the video first. What if they keep asking you questions? Then you just go, listen, think about it. In the time that you're asking me these questions, you could have already spent 5 minutes watching the video, couldn't you? Yeah. And when it comes to C, assumption script, you know why we're calling it assumption script? Because you got to assume that people that look up to you are going to do what it is that you're suggesting they do. That all just comes from your energy, because they look up to you. So it would be normal for them to be like, yeah, whatever you think. That would be normal for them to want to take a look at it based upon your word, because you have credibility and respect in relation to them. So when you're calling up that person and you're letting them know, listen, you got a minute? Yeah, I came across something. You are going to be excited about this. I can assure you that. When can you take about 5 minutes to take a look at this? See how I'm staying within the confines of the script? But my tone is everything. And that's what you got to practice. You got to get in front of the mirror and practice your facial expressions and do your tone. That's what you got to do. You're a paid actor and a paid actress in a true story. It's called FES. It's called life. You got to know your scripts. You got to know your scripts. I think our kids, when they're small, they got all the facial expressions and tonality, and somewhere between a kid and an adult, it's kind of like lost. Because think about it, your kids know how to work us, don't they? Our kids know how to work us. They got all the facial expressions. Why can't I have that? I'm telling you, I think you should give that to me. They know all the right things to say and how to say it. They got all the body language, all the facial expressions going on. It's amazing. You got to do the same thing. Your facial expressions, your body language, all of that. And then once you get somebody to look at the video, you come back, right, and it says here the key follow-up question. When you're asking somebody for their opinion, you just say, hey, listen, what were your thoughts on it? Just ask them what their thoughts were. Find out what their thoughts are. Now, here's the key, and as we move forward, because it combines all with follow-up, this is critical, because after you do the first part, invite, that's the script. Then they look at the video. Then you got to do what? That's the exposure. Then you got to get a response. But you got to know what to do once you get that response. What am I going to do? What if they say they want to be an agent? What if they say they want to be a customer? What if they say they're not interested? What do I do then? Well, that's what we're going to teach you. When you're new, be new. When you're new, be new. Use the process. So here's the process, okay? Here's you. You just got started. You're relatively new. You don't have the experience just yet. So what can you do? Well, obviously you know people, and the value you have with the people you know is the trust factor. The relationship already exists. What do you lack? You lack respect and credibility because you're new. Hard to have respect and credibility in something you're just learning about. So you're in training right now. That's what you're in. Get that in your mind. If you're new, you're in training. Hey, I'm just in training right now. Hey, I'm just training right now. That's what you want to know. And then you want to connect yourself with a sales director and above. Everybody in this room, I assure you of this, has a sales director in their upline, has a regional sales director somewhere in their upline, has an executive sales director in their upline, has a vice president and above in their upline. Everybody. You got to know who your sales director is at the very least. If you're sponsored by an agent, if your agent is sponsored by an agent, if your agent is sponsored by a field trainer or a senior field trainer, that's all great, but you need to know who your upline sales director is. Everybody should know who their upline sales director is. And then what you want to do is you want to develop a relationship with somebody who could be helpful to you in talking with people once they have seen the video, once they have potentially seen the opportunity, or at least the first video. And how are they going to do that? They're going to do that by a three-way call. They're going to do that by maybe scheduling a time where that person is willing to meet with them one-on-one. It's going to be potentially where you bring them out to a presentation that somebody is doing. Any of those things. But you've got to get really good at edifying and promoting. That is something that a lot of people have not learned to do. They have not been trained to do it, but that's another thing that you got to get really good at here. Learning how to edify and learning how to promote others is magical in this business. I mean, absolutely magical. You talk about getting people to show up for things. Like sometimes people say, well, how do I get people to show up to an event? Edification and promotion. People love to meet people that they hear about that are successful or have mystique, things like that. Like for instance, I'll give you an example. Last night, obviously someone invited some of the folks out here to take a look at what FES had to offer, and they probably edified myself, being that I was going to be doing the overview and doing the training, and so people probably edified me. And there was a good bit of people that came out. But what if we all had known that Oprah Winfrey was coming and she was going to be doing the FES overview? How many think there would have been more people in here last night? You think there would have been more people in here last night? How many think there wouldn't have been enough room in here? And the reason that would be the case is not because she was coming. It would be because you would have edified and promoted more. Oh my gosh, you got to come out. Oprah Winfrey is doing some special event. Anybody can come. It's free. And you would have spent and exerted more energy to get people here. Always remember this. Your attitude. Remember this, your attitude. So think, the event itself is less important than your attitude towards it. The event itself is less important than your attitude towards it. It's your ability to edify the event that makes the event successful, not the event itself. Nobody would even know about the event if you didn't talk about it. It doesn't matter that we have an event. The event's irrelevant. It's your attitude towards the event that makes it huge. It's your ability to edify the people that are speaking that makes it huge. So like for instance, when you're getting somebody on the phone with somebody, if I was getting somebody on the phone with Terrence, for instance, I'm going to edify Terrence. So if I'm new, I have a prospect, they looked at the video, they have an interest, they have some questions. I don't start answering questions, I'm new. So here's how I transition people. They say, yeah, I do have an interest, I want to learn more about the service. Hey, that's great. Listen, I'm just in training right now. What I'd like to do is connect you with my regional sales director, a gentleman by the name of Terrence Smalls. He has the experience and the knowledge. This guy is doing extremely well within the company. But we got to be mindful of his time. He's super busy. Let me see what I could do to get him on the line. And I edify him to the point where I'm creating respect and credibility for him. Because that's the power. When somebody trusts you and they respect your expert, boom, you're going to have a lot easier time signing people up. You got to understand human nature. The more you know somebody, the less respect you have with them. Not that they don't respect you as a person, but that's just human nature. I'll prove it to you. You take dating as a great example of it. What does respect exist? In the beginning, what happens? You show up early. Oh, you look so lovely. Hey, come on, we're going to go out. And they go to the car, and you open the car door. And then, you drive. And what would you like to listen to on the radio? And you get down to the restaurant, and they open the door for you, right? And you go into the restaurant, and they maybe hold the chair out, and the menus come, and they say things like, oh, what would you like to eat? Order anything you like, right? It's all what? Respect. Respect, because you don't know each other. And when you don't know each other, there's a lot more respect. You don't have a lot of trust because you're just meeting. What happens after like a year? Changes, right? You pull up in your car, you hit the horn, and hurry up. They come out to the car. If you're lucky, they open the door from the inside. Maybe they push it open. Hey, what's going on? Hey, don't touch my radio. I was listening to the game, okay? Come on, relax. You get down to the restaurant, they open the door, walk in front of you. Right? Sit down at the table. The menus come, they push your menu down. Listen, don't even think about ordering the lobster unless are you paying? See, just change, right? After a year. What about 2 years? What about 3 years? What about you get married? Yeah, what about that? Think about what happens. Trust goes up, Respect starts to go down, not as a person, but just mannerisms, things like that. But think about it. I'll prove it. Think about it. How come after you're married a period of time, 3, 4 years, whatever, you start to hear sounds from your partner you never used to hear? Did you just get gas? No, you just don't care because you got love. You have love now. Love. You got love. You can do whatever you want. See, that's what happens. You know, now all of a sudden respect's out the window. And it's the same thing with friends, right? If you have a great friend, they come over your house, you open the door, you don't even invite them in. You just walk away and they follow you in. And then they sit down, they go, you got something to drink? And you're like, yeah, you know where the refrigerator is. And that's how you treat your friends. But if that same friend was coming over with somebody you never met before, you wouldn't do that. You would invite them in. Come on in. Have a seat. Can I get you something? Everything changes because that's what we do. When we don't know somebody, we have a different respect for them versus when we have trust. That's why you can't be your own expert until you are an expert. You can't be your own expert. To be your own expert, you'd have to be amazingly successful already at FES. You cannot be your own expert. You don't want to be your own expert. You want to get out of the way and let your expert do the work and let them be the respected credibility. And by the way, that's also how you learn the business. Because you're listening to somebody else who knows how to answer the questions better, that knows how to talk to people better because they have experience, and you'll get better because of it. That is huge. Transition. I'm in training right now. That's your answer to every question. That's your answer to every question. Great question. I'm in training right now. Let me get you on the phone with Edify Your Expert. I'm in training right now. Great question. I'm in training right now. Let me get you on the phone with my whoever that is, my sales director, my regional sales, my executive, and their name, and some credibility for them, and you edify them. And the way I look at it is like you're the ringmaster in the circus. That's how I look at it. That's your job. You're the ringmaster in the circus. Another character in the big show. You're the ringmaster. That's your job, to promote and edify the acts. This is the act right here. This is your audience right here. How many ever been to the circus? You ever been to the circus? Think about it. Have you ever been to the circus where the ringmaster did this? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest show on earth. In just a few minutes, you're going to watch me put on a circus event like never before. I'm about to go change into my tights, and I'm going to go up on that high wire, and I'm going to climb it. And after I get off the high wire, I'm going to change again, and I'm going to grab my whip in my chair, and I'm going to tame those tigers. And then finally, I'm going to change into my motorcycle uniform with my helmet, and I'm going to go in that cage, and I'm going to go round and round and round, and you're going to marvel and be amazed. So stand by, stay in your seats, because I got to go change my clothes. You ever been in a circus like that? Yeah, me neither. The ringmaster doesn't do the acts. He introduces the acts. That's what he does. He introduces the acts. That's what a good ringmaster does. Now, here's the other thing about a ringmaster that's amazing. A ringmaster is a professional. You know what a professional is? A professional is somebody who can do the same job over and over and over again at a very high level because they recognize one thing changes every time. It's like an athlete. It's like an entertainer. Think about a concert. The concert that you're seeing is not unique to you, meaning the next group that comes in is going to see the exact same show you saw. But the entertainer, although the entertainer does it for years and years and years, if you go to Vegas, you see some of the headliners, they're doing it for years, the same exact show. But what's different every single time? The audience. The audience is different every single time. So they're a professional, so that's why they can give the effort at a very high level, because they recognize that it's not about them, it's about the audience. So a ringmaster does countless shows. Think about it. Over and over and over, sometimes 2 times a day, 5, 6 days a week, around the country, hundreds of times, thousands of times, with the same amount of enthusiasm and energy every time. Why? Because they understand the audience is different every time. And that's what you got to do. You might be edifying the same person over and over and over again, right? And you might lose that enthusiasm. That's a huge mistake for your business. You might be going to your Tuesday night meeting or your Thursday night meeting, and you've gone to so many, and you've talked about it so much, and you lose your enthusiasm. You don't promote it the same way. Well, then imagine a ringmaster if they did that. Imagine that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I was thinking today, this is like my 1700 show. Man, that's a lot of shows. All right, so tonight we're going to see Igor and his crew. They're going to go up on the high wire. I don't really like Igor that much. He cheats at cards. But, you know, it's pretty good, man. I mean, it's pretty good. And then after that, we'll have the guy who tames the tigers. That's always pretty cool. All right, put your hands together for Igor and the crew. I mean, people would be like, what? They would leave. It would be terrible, wouldn't it? Same thing in this business. You got to have the energy of the ringmaster every single time. Every single time. One thing I can assure you, I've been in this industry for 25 years. I've been with FES since January of 2010, and my enthusiasm is the same today, if not greater than it was back then. I had all that enthusiasm back then. It was the same. When I sit in a meeting, I pay attention. I sat here last night. I've seen countless overviews with FES. Countless. Over and over and over. I've seen tons of people do them. I've done a ton. But I will tell you this. I sat back there last night. I was paying attention. I was into it. I was taking notes. I was stealing stuff. I was doing all that. Great stuff to steal. I ain't above thievery to get rich. So I was paying attention. Like some of you guys are so funny. You go to 10 overviews and already you're like worn down. It's like you've been for 100 years you've been in the business. It's just so funny. You're sitting in the meeting and you're like, and you got a friend sitting next to you that you brought to the overview. And they're looking at you going, yeah, this really does look like a good opportunity. You got to sit on the edge of your chair, man. You got to pay attention. You got 5,000 agents on your team. You're making $25,000 a month. You got 5,000 agents, you're making $25,000 a month. You're sitting in an overview and you're knocked out? I don't think so. I promise you, I don't think that's true. You got to sit up. You got to pay attention. You got to edify the same every time, every single time. You got to give energy. These are all things that everybody in here can do. You all can do it if you put your mind to it. These are things that anybody could do. That's what I love about this business. Don't matter how young you are, don't matter how old you are, doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter how fast you are, doesn't matter how high you can jump, doesn't matter how many weights you can lift. You can do this because it's all in your head. It's just all in your head if you will let yourself go. Let yourself go and have some fun in life. Life's too short. So what do you got to do? Look, at the end of the day, what is follow-up about? Follow-up about is getting people to give them a different perspective. Giving people a chance to see a new way, expose them to a new way of thinking. That's all FES is, exposing people to a new way of thinking. Another critical thing to do, in addition to that three-way call, in addition to saying, hey, I'm in training, let me have your talk to and edify the person that can help you. In addition to that, sometimes you just have an opportunity to team up with somebody that you've met at an event like this, which is another great opportunity to network with people, to see who may be a particular career or background that you could utilize. And let somebody else do a better job of talking to somebody for you than you. A great example of that is, I always like to tell the story about Derek and when I first met him. So Derek used to have a RE/MAX office. He was in real estate. That was his only career at that time. And somebody got him on the phone with me because he had a question and some, I would say, regulatory concerns and whether it was a conflict of interest. So he gets on the phone with me and he says, hey, you know, Greg, appreciate you taking a few minutes. I just, you know, before I even venture into this endeavor, I just need to know a few things, and I need you just to let me know how this impacts RESPA. So he says, how does this impact RESPA? So I go, RESPA, and he goes, yeah, RESPA. And I'm thinking to myself, what is this, like RESPA? Is that like mouth-to-mouth for real estate agents? I mean, I have no idea what that even means, you know, RESPA. So I don't say, hey, Derek, explain to me what RESPA means. I go, hey, Derek, listen, sounds like this is something related to real estate. You know what? Here's what I like to do. I work with a gentleman. His name is George Anderson. He's out of Utah. Guy's been in the mortgage business for 15 years. Extremely successful in the mortgage business, done it very, very well. Was able to come on board with our company. Ultimately, this is what he pursues full-time at this time. Great guy. Really busy guy, but let me see what I can do. What am I doing right now? I was edifying George. That's what I was doing. I was edifying so that he had respect and credibility when I connected him to Derek, so he would listen. At least he would hear the guy out. So I edified him big time. I said, look, let me do this. Let me get this gentleman on the phone, see what I can do. I will have him reach out to you, and I'm sure he'd be able to give you the answers you're looking for. Then I called George on the phone. George, it's Greg. Got a quick sec? Yeah. Listen, need a favor. Got a guy. Now, George does not have anything to do with Derek. He doesn't make any money from Derek. He's not in Derek's upline. I'm just using a friend, a teammate, somebody that wants to help me like I want to help them. So I said, George, need a favor. Can you reach out to this guy? Something about RESPA. That's what he told me. I have no idea what that is, but I know you do. He goes, yeah, it's some regulatory thing. Starting up. Great. Just get on the phone with Derek, give him whatever documentation he needs, help him feel comfortable, and I'd appreciate it. So that's what he does. He calls up Derek. I guess they exchanged emails, and he sent him over some information. And bottom line, at the end of the day, maybe it was a month later, I saw Derek at a Secrets of Success training. He was already just coming on board. He was just, if not already, a sales director. He was his first SOS. He ended up becoming a season pass holder. Within months after that, he ended up closing down his RE/MAX office altogether. And within 12 months, he became a vice president. 12 months, vice president. All because of, I got him on the phone with George, who made him wipe away that. What if I try to get in the way? What if I try to get the information? That could have jeopardized it. Yeah, I might have said the wrong things. I might have delayed it. Anything could have happened. But I don't care. Like, I'm not trying to be right. I'm not trying to be important. I'm trying to do the right things, and I'm incorporating the efforts of other people. In this case, I use teamwork. Now, he's been in the business coming up 3.5 years. To this day, I still don't know what RESPA is. And just so you know, I don't want to know what RESPA is. And I know there's a lot of you in real estate in here, and that's all well and good. Don't feel comfortable at all coming up to me at a break trying to explain what RESPA is, because I never want to know what RESPA is, because if I know what RESPA is, then somebody might be calling me to ask me to explain it to someone else. And I don't want to do that, because I told you I'm lazy. So as long as I don't know, I don't ever have to answer that question. Bingo. But sometimes you got to use teamwork. Get it off of you. Get it off of you. Get it off of you and put it onto somebody else that can help you do a good job. That's what you're looking for. And then look, again, just a reminder, you got to be patient. It takes time. You're exposing people to the opportunity. You're planting seeds. And that's what you got to realize. And you got to continue as you share this opportunity with people. You got to drip on people. You got to do it subtly, too. One of the great things that I do, and I've done it for years, and this works great, and it's why I believe so much in the magazines. What I do is I take a magazine. I do this every time a magazine comes out. The first time I send a magazine to somebody who didn't have an interest, I send them a short cover letter. Hey, whoever it is I'm writing it to, hey, Romeo, how you doing? I know at the time I shared FES with you, I know it wasn't for you, but I thought you would find this very interesting, just what's going on with me and my company. I'm just going to send you this magazine. It comes out quarterly or so. I thought you would enjoy getting this information. That's it. And then I send the magazine because it's not intrusive to do that. And here's what I know. I know that he's going to look at the magazine. I know that. Now, is it a chance he'll get it just thrown in the trash? Maybe. But there's a chance that he'll thumb through it. That's time number one. Then I'm going to send him another one without a cover letter. I already told him I don't need to send a cover letter ever again. Just mail him another one. Now he gets it again. What is it doing? Dripping. But also it's letting him know I'm still in this game. I'm still here. I'm still doing it. Another one. Still doing it. Another one. Still doing it. See, now he's got 5, 6, 7 magazines. I promise you, you do that again and again and again, you are going to get some traction from somebody off of one of those. I know because I've done it. And I've had good people sign up because of it. And I told you the story about my brother from years ago, and I'll tell you, that's one of the ways I got him. Always send him a magazine, always send him a magazine, always send him a magazine. Because if you call people up on the phone and you're staying on them yourself on the phone, that can become pushy. That can become like you're really trying hard to recruit them. But the magazine, you ain't doing it. It's third party. It's like it's so soft. But it's still strong because what are they doing? Reading success stories potentially, turning it over to the back, thinking about it, looking at the product stories. All of that is an opportunity in itself. You're getting into their head. That's the value of it. But that could take time. And you got to be realizing you're just planting seeds, planting seeds, planting seeds, looking for the people that are going to be the right people because you're not just looking at the tree, You're looking at the forest. You're looking at all the people, all the people. So be patient. Group number one are the people you know. You want to start out with your personal contacts and think in terms of, if I expose this to enough of my personal contacts and I do the right things, I'm ultimately going to make your friends' friends your friends. That's how you make a lot of friends. If I went through my cell phone right now, there are so many people that you would recognize in my phone. Actors, entertainers, athletes. I know a lot of people, not because I knew them, because I had a personal contact who introduced me to somebody, who introduced me to somebody, who introduced me to somebody. I'm very good at that. Getting somebody to introduce me to someone else, to introduce me to somebody else, to introduce me to somebody else. And that's what you look at. But a lot of times we look at just the person we know and we don't look beyond that person, because that truly is the value, beyond that person. And then always remember, we're not in the business of closing the sale when it comes to our agents. We're in the business of opening a relationship. This is relationship business. That's what it is. And the better you are at relationships, the better you are at building a long-term business. So that's how you begin the process of working with your personal contacts.